What happened to your body by age 30 in the Middle Ages was not something sudden. It was the result of a lifetime that moved too fast and gave too little back. By 30, the medieval body had already lived through conditions that modern bodies rarely experience even once. From birth, survival shaped everything. Many children did not survive infancy. Those who did often carried the damage forward. Fevers scarred lungs. Infections weakened organs. Malnutrition slowed development. Even before memory formed, the body was adapting to scarcity. Childhood did not exist as a protected phase. By the age of 5 or 6, children were expected to contribute. Not symbolically. Physically. Carrying water. Gathering firewood. Watching animals. Helping in fields. Bones were still growing. Joints were fragile. But weight and repetition did not wait for maturity. Growth adapted to labor. Legs bowed. Spines curved. Posture formed around work, not health. Pain became familiar early. By the early teenage years, the body already showed signs of wear. Muscles grew strong but tight. Flexibility disappeared. Injuries were common. A twisted ankle healed crooked. A broken bone set without precision. Scar tissue limited movement. There was no concept of rehabilitation. If you could move, you worked. If you could not, you suffered. Teeth were under constant assault. Stone ground flour wore enamel down. Grit entered the mouth daily. Gums inflamed. Abscesses formed. Pain was ignored until unbearable. By 20, many had already lost multiple teeth. Chronic infections in the mouth spread through the body. By the early 20s, the body entered its hardest period. Labor intensified. For peasants, days followed the sun. For craftsmen, repetitive motion destroyed joints. For soldiers, violence reshaped bodies permanently. There were no days off. No rest cycles. Sleep was short and uncomfortable. Cold seeped into muscles at night. Morning stiffness never fully disappeared. For women, adulthood meant childbirth. Often early. Often repeatedly. Pregnancy drained nutrients. Childbirth caused internal damage. Pelvic injuries were common. Hemorrhage weakened the body. Recovery time was minimal. Another pregnancy often followed before healing completed. Bones weakened. Teeth loosened. Hair thinned. Skin aged rapidly. For men, heavy labor destroyed the back. Plowing fields. Carrying stone. Lifting loads beyond safe limits. Spinal compression began early. Nerves were pinched. Pain radiated through limbs. Stooped posture became permanent. Hands told the story of life. Calloused. Scarred. Swollen joints. Arthritis appeared early. Grip strength remained, but pain followed every movement. By 25, the body no longer fully recovered from exertion. Fatigue became constant. Energy was rationed. Every movement was calculated. Nothing was wasted. Illness struck frequently. Water was contaminated. Food spoiled easily. Parasites drained nutrients constantly. Diarrhea weakened the body again and again. Dehydration was dangerous. Surviving illness often meant lasting damage. A lung infection left breathing impaired. A fever weakened the heart. A wound healed, but never completely. The immune system was always active. Never resting. Eyesight declined early. Smoke-filled homes irritated eyes daily. Low light strained vision. Reading, when possible, worsened it. By 30, many struggled to see clearly. Hearing loss followed infections and exposure. Respiratory problems were widespread. Indoor fires filled homes with smoke. Coughing was constant. Shortness of breath was normal. Lungs aged quickly. Skin reflected the toll. Sun exposure burned it. Cold cracked it. Wind scarred it. Faces aged rapidly. Wrinkles formed early. By 30, many looked decades older than their age. Hair loss accelerated under stress and malnutrition. Gray hair appeared early. Internally, damage was worse. Organs adapted to scarcity. Metabolism slowed. The body became efficient but fragile. One bad season could undo years of survival. Mental health suffered alongside physical decline. Chronic stress reshaped the mind. Fear was constant. Fear of hunger. Fear of illness. Fear of losing the ability to work. Sleep was shallow. Nightmares were common. The nervous system never fully relaxed. Grief was frequent. Death was everywhere. Children died. Friends died. Family members vanished suddenly. Emotional resilience was forced, not chosen. By 30, a medieval person had experienced more loss than many modern people experience in a lifetime. Pain was not questioned. It was expected. Ignored. Worked through. Comfort was not a goal. Endurance was. By 30, joints ached daily. Cold worsened pain. Rain made movement harder. Winter stiffened everything. Movement became cautious. Energy was carefully managed. There was no margin for error. One injury could end survival. One illness could mean starvation. There was no safety net. No retirement. No slowing down. Even as the body declined, expectations remained. People worked until they physically could not. And even then, they tried. 30 was not young. It was the beginning of decline. From that point on, damage accumulated faster than recovery. Healing slowed. Strength diminished. Pain increased. And still, life continued. People married. Raised children. Worked land. Built homes. Fought wars. They endured not because they were strong, but because stopping was not an option. The medieval body was not designed for longevity. It was shaped by necessity. By age 30, it had already sacrificed comfort, health, and resilience. What remained was endurance. Surviving one more day was success. And tomorrow, the same life would begin again. The body would wake before it was ready. Muscles stiff from the night would resist movement. Joints would ache before the first step was taken. There was no stretching, no warming up. The body learned to move through pain immediately. Morning cold settled deep into bones. Hands struggled to close fully. Backs straightened slowly, carefully. Every movement reminded the body of its limits. Work began regardless. Fields waited. Animals needed care. Tools demanded grip and strength. There was no option to delay. Hunger pushed the body forward even when it resisted. By 30, the body no longer trusted itself. Balance could fail. Strength could disappear suddenly. A misstep could cause injury that never healed. Fear of falling was real. Fear of lifting too much was constant. Yet tasks remained the same. Heavy loads did not grow lighter because the body weakened. The body compensated by sacrificing something else. Posture collapsed further. Muscles tightened more. Pain deepened. Circulation suffered. Swelling became common. Hands and feet stiffened. Blood flow slowed. Cold lingered longer in extremities. Numbness followed. Small wounds healed slowly. Cuts stayed open longer. Infections crept in. Without antiseptics, the body fought alone. Sometimes it succeeded. Sometimes it lost in silence. Chronic inflammation became part of daily life. Joints burned. Tendons throbbed. There was no word for chronic pain. Only the knowledge that it never left. Breathing worsened with age. Smoke damage accumulated. Lung capacity decreased. Climbing hills became exhausting. Coughing interrupted sleep. Chest pain appeared and was ignored. The heart worked harder under constant stress. Blood pressure fluctuated. Dizziness occurred. Fainting was dangerous. A collapse could mean death. Digestive systems continued to suffer. Food quality varied. Spoilage was common. The stomach reacted unpredictably. Cramping became routine. Nutrient absorption worsened. Weight fluctuated. Strength declined, energy became unreliable, the body no longer provided consistent output. Some days it worked, some days it barely functioned. Women's bodies carried additional burdens. Repeated childbirth weakened connective tissue. Chronic pelvic pain became normal. Infections after birth lingered. Blood loss compounded anemia. Fatigue deepened. Bones fractured more easily. Many women lived with constant discomfort. Men faced different degeneration. Hernias worsened. Testicular injuries went untreated. Chronic groin pain limited movement. Back injuries restricted lifting. Shoulders lost range of motion. Arms weakened unevenly. The body adapted by reducing movement. Efficiency replaced strength. Tasks were done slowly, carefully. The body conserved energy wherever possible. Mental strain grew alongside physical decline. Fear became sharper. The awareness of fragility increased. Every pain raised concern. Every cough hinted at death. The mind lived close to anxiety. Yet there was no language for it. No therapy. No relief. Emotional weight pressed heavily. Responsibility did not lessen with age. Families depended on labor. Children required food. If the body failed, others suffered. Guilt accompanied pain. Rest felt undeserved. Even when exhausted, people pushed on. Sleep offered little recovery. Pain followed into dreams. Nightmares were common. Waking felt no better than sleeping. The nervous system remained tense. Always prepared for hardship. Always expecting loss. Social life reflected physical condition. Laughter existed, but carefully. Joy was brief. Celebrations were exhausting. Festivals strained the body further. Recovery took days. Sometimes weeks. There was no concept of self-care. Only duty. Only survival. By 30, the medieval body had become something different. Not young, not old, but used. It carried a map of every season lived. Every winter endured. Every illness survived. Every injury worked through. The body was no longer a source of possibility. It was a resource to be managed carefully, because once it failed, there was no replacement. No backup, no safety net, and so life continued, slowly, painfully, relentlessly. Each day demanded the same effort. Each night offered the same uneasy rest. The body gave what it could, until it could not, and when it finally broke, it was not shocking. It was expected, because by 30, the medieval body had already lived a lifetime.